Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So I have been playing 2XKO Alpha Playtest for the past week, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but playing this game is the most fun that I've had playing a fighting game in a really long time. But before we get into the reasons why, consider subscribing for more content like this. I do reviews, previews, talk about just video game news, and basically talk about what's going on in the industry. It really just depends. So with that said, let's get into my thoughts because I have a lot of them. First, let me get into a little bit of my background with fighting games because I think that's pretty important. Because I, for one, am a huge novice when it comes to fighting games. I basically play the games that look cool or have characters in them that I'm already familiar with. For example, I love games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Dragon Ball Z Fighters. But I do dabble in more traditional fighting games like Street Fighter from time to time. And there are some other fighting games that I like Soul Calibur, but essentially that is where I'm coming from. I am someone who plays fighting games from time to time, but I don't play every fighting game, and it really just depends on the game itself if I'm going to pick it up or not. If the fighting game looks cool enough, then I'm interested. That is when 2XKO came into my radar. Originally announced as Project L, 2XKO has come a long ways from its first unveiling back in 2019. And now in 2024, we are at the point where players can actually get their hands on the game, albeit in an alpha state. Which means that this game is still being worked on and it is in no way finished. That being said, what I have played feels so polished already, but again, this is just the early stages of the game. 2XKO is a 2D 2v2 team fighting game set in the League of Legends universe. You know, the one with all of this gameplay. I really don't know what's going on here. As someone who knows very little about League of Legends, I can assure you that you do not need to know about this series or its lore at all. If you do, cool. If not, that's okay too. What matters is if the gameplay looks cool and is fun to play. And thankfully, 2XKO is an absolute blast to play. Like I said, this is a 2v2 tag team fighting game, which essentially means that you choose two characters as your fighters, one of them being the primary character, and the other one acting as an assist. You then fight against an opponent that also picks two fighters, and fight one another until your character's life bars are completely depleted. Because this is a tag team fighting game, you can tag in your partner characters, and switch out to either give your fighter time to heal or extend your combos. Now, I'm not going to get into too much of the technical side of this game because A, I'm still a novice at fighting games, and B, I really don't want to. I don't really talk a lot about traditional fighting games on this channel, so take that as you will. But going back to the game, in this alpha, I was able to play as 6 characters, and I love everyone in this roster so far. Each of the characters' designs is so cool looking. I genuinely love this art style. It has this cel-shaded look with the characters animated to perfection, with easy to see movement. The effects for each attack also look striking, giving weight to each blow. The visuals of 2XKO is what got my attention, but the gameplay is what kept me playing. Like I mentioned before, I am low level when it comes to fighting games, but 2XKO has systems in place to help newcomers like myself succeed in a genre that is notorious for being hard to get into. One of the new systems in place is the introduction of fuses. Fuses change the way teams play the game, and each fuse has a focus on a different playstyle. There are 5 fuses total, each of them changes the way your team synergizes. This allows the player to further customize their playstyle. I like when fighting games make it easier for newcomers to get into their game without completely dumbing down the entire game for everyone. If people really like the game, they will strive to become better and eventually learn the more complicated aspects of the game. And I completely understand that the FCG, the competitive fighting game people, they need their space to be competitive in, and I completely understand that. But at least with this fuse mechanic, it allows players like me to at least play the same game as they are. And the fuse that I and even the game recommends using is the pulse fuse. The pulse fuse is the go-to for beginners like me. It basically makes it easier to do complicated combos. I tried switching to a different fuse and it was like playing a different game. The next element I want to highlight are the stages. I got to play on 4 stages. Each of them are perfect representations of some of the fighters in the roster. I personally love the Spirit Hills and the pub. From now on, every fighting game should have a bar stage. I don't care. In 2XKO, there are no stage elements that you can utilize, which is fine by me. These stages are just visual eye candy, and I am more than happy with that. I will also say that the music for things like the main menu and themes for every fighter is superb. The soundtrack is very energetic, with lots of catchy beats. It really gets you in the mood to beat people up. There are some smaller aspects of 2XKO that I want to point out, like the matchmaking lobby. You get to customize a little avatar and make your way into this gamer pad. You can choose to watch people live on the big screen or watch people at the cabinets themselves. There are certain elements that are not yet available, like the store and stuff like that, but you can tell that there will be more added to this lobby. This alpha playtest came with a free battle pass to progress through, and the rewards seemed really generous, although I will say that I don't really care for all the avatar cosmetics. I am way more interested in credits that you can use for alternate colors for fighters or straight up alternate costumes that you can unlock. Now this is how you get me to play a fighting game. Give me all the cool cosmetics that you can possibly unlock and I'll be a happy man. Finally, let's talk about the fighters themselves because let's be real, characters are the most interesting elements in fighting games. First runner up is Echo. Echo is by far my favorite character. I love his design, but more importantly, I love the way he plays. He has time rewind abilities that make him an absolute blast to play. Yasuo is this awesome looking samurai with really cool moves that you can mix together to create devastating attacks. Arya is this very agile character that is able to use magic and quick attacks. Darius is this paladin looking dude that is able to destroy opponents with his axe. Braum is this huge support character that is also a tank. To be honest, he was probably my least favorite fighter out of the cast, but only in gameplay because as a person, he seems like the most wholesome dude. Maybe I just need more time with him. And finally, we have Illaoi. This character was a standout to me personally. I did not expect to love this character as much as I did. And she has managed to be one of my favorite characters to play as. She can deal massive damage with the added ability to summon Kraken tentacles. Overall, I love this roster so far. Each character has their strengths and weaknesses, and building the perfect duo, I can't wait to see more characters added in the future. Unfortunately, the Alpha Lab playtest is coming to a close, but I am absolutely going to try to get my hands on this game again and again before the full release. This is an easy recommendation to anyone who is remotely interested in fighting games. Of course, we have to wait for the full release to see if the game will be worth the time, but fortunately, 2XKO will actually be a free-to-play title, which for me is both a positive and possibly a negative. I'm just a little nervous of how much microtransactions might be in this game because of the free-to-play nature. But oddly enough, I trust this development team. So far, they have crafted an amazing product, and this is just the alpha version. I cannot wait for the full version. I understand adding microtransactions in a free-to-play game. I just hope it's not too in your face about it. Hopefully it'll be handled as well as the rest of the game. I highly recommend keeping 2XKO on your radar as it is planned to release sometime in 2025. I, for one, cannot wait. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. God bless.